Man, I tell you, I feel like every non-working night is pretty similar where I'll just kind of be in this state where I'll sleep for a portion of the morning, and then during the day I'll just go run some errands or do whatever. For the last few days I've been working on this documentary. And then around the 4 o'clock hour, like around the middle part of the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I'll just start getting really tired and go to sleep, and I'll wake up and it'll be like 9, 10, 11. Then I'll do a little bit of stuff on the computer or on some other device, or try to call somebody, just little end of day type things. And then I'll go back to whatever stuff I was doing before that, and then probably eventually go to sleep in the early hours of the morning. It's such a fascinating little concoction of things acting up. Now, Dio, I don't want to talk to you because you've been ignoring this channel for over a year. I haven't seen you on one video. Uh, I believe in since 2017. So I really don't even want to look at anything you write. You really have hurt my feelings. I said if I've lost Dio, I've lost the entire internet, because he has his heart his hand on the pulse of what people want to watch. So when I got your anti endorsement, I just felt like I couldn't make it. Very disappointing. Just making sure this thing works good. Now I remember when Dio used to show up on all the streams. He would come and leave comments. He would ask me how I was doing. But nowadays, he wants to be an actor. So what he does, because he wants to be in the Marvel films, he makes a little cameo where he comes and writes his drive-by sentence, and then zips out of there. And I'm really tired of it. I said, you're either going to attend the stream, or it's all going to be a bad dream. Can't have one or the other. All this dip your toe in the water stuff, it needs to be finished. I mean, I used to get so many comments from Dio. He would come there, he would be there for the whole thing. Now you're lucky if he writes 2 comments. And that's outrageous. You're more likely to see Dio on the live stream of the Christy Noam channels, not even a channel, but channels, than you are to see him on my stream. You're more likely to see Dio celebrating and praising an election denier than you will see him talking about and responding and being in favor of someone that he claims to like the channel with. You're more likely to see Dio on an MTG stream discussing congressional strategies than you are to see him show up and talk to me. It's really tragic. I don't know why I've fallen off so hard in terms of stock, but it is what it is. I mean, I remember the good old days. Dio would show up and he would just write these comments and talk. But now, again, he puts one comment. He puts one comment, and then he just goes away. It's kind of funny, when this first came out, I actually did type in her initials and got Magic the Gathering. No, you can see, you know which one I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That Georgia icon. Every time people go to Atlanta, where's Marjorie? Where's Marjorie? No, she's been making the rounds for the last few weeks, trying to get rid of the Speaker of the House, to no avail. I prefer butter. Oh, I thought you were talking about Butters from South Park. I was gonna say I prefer him as well. No, it's just been such a crazy year. I mean, I brought this up before when I got Lake's book. It was at a discounted price, and when I saw that handwriting at the bottom of there, I got really confused. I thought somebody had like I don't know. I don't know what I thought. It just was weird because I knew that it did. That wasn't like a normal thing that's supposed to be on the book. Just when you get like a new copy of it, and it was funny because the book's not even a year old. So somebody bought one of these, got it signed by her, and then was like, in less than like 12 months, it went from being in the presence of the person that quote unquote wrote it to ending up on Amazon, the backwaters of Amazon for a discounted price, and like it mattered so little that it was signed that they didn't even mention that in the when they were giving it out or selling it. I just thought that was funny that in the span of that thing came out June of last year. It has been 11 months. In the span of less than a year, it went from being a new copy to being a signed copy to being a sold away copy, where the fact that it was signed matters so little that you just buy it thinking, okay, whatever, it's just a regular copy, got a discount price, pretty good deal. And what is this? Yeah, I read about halfway through. I have to say I'm pretty disappointed because they marketed it as her going and like telling the full story of how she became an accredited reporter. Well, you know what I said? I've seen signed copies of books before, and usually the author will sign like on the first page, right? Like right here. Uh, she's the only author I've ever seen where they sign their book on the dust jacket. I like that on that winning team publishing site, they're trying to sell signed copies of the book for I think it's like $29, $39. I was like, I don't why would I buy a signed copy off there for 40 or $30 and I can get it for a 10 or 11 on Amazon? Doesn't make any sense. I'm serious. I've seen out of all the authors I have ever read or seen signed copies from, she is the only one that signed her name on the dust jacket. I've never seen anyone else do that. Unafraid. I'm afraid of it getting damaged. No one else has done that. I don't know what she was thinking. But I was saying that I was actually a little disappointed because I thought, since it's a memoir, it was going to be like her recollection of, being in her career in cable news and, just like actually like having some interesting stories. And so far, there's been bits and pieces of stuff about her dad, but it's mostly just her talking about the gubernatorial election in Arizona and blah 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 blah. I don't know, the stuff I was looking forward to kind of got glanced over is the problem. The things I thought would be more described. Let's see. Okay, good. Where's the excitement? There's no stories of her wrestling. No, what I mean by that is when somebody writes a memoir, especially if it's a person who's not that old, maybe like 40, 30, 50. Oftentimes it's the first instance where people have the chance, if they so choose, by getting the book, to learn things about you that they might not know from reporters or whatever profession that you've chosen to be in. So when you write your memoir and you make it mostly about the thing people already know you for, where they're like, well, I mean, I guess that's fine, but I would have liked, some more content about your background, because a lot of that stuff is not readily known. It's like, oh yeah, she mentions having all these different siblings. I think it was like 6, 7 siblings. Like, yeah, to talk about them. Which ones did you like? What did you guys do? To me, that was always my favorite part of reading a memoir, where there's when they talk about their background, because a lot of times you might just know that person as the senator or the congressman, or in her case, the gubernatorial candidate. I mean, it's just you want to see, like, them actually talk about something that you haven't seen before or seen mentioned elsewhere. Now, I'm surprised Dio actually came to my stream and left multiple comments. I don't think I've seen that since that night back in 2017, where he was surprised that Roy Moore lost the race in Alabama. That's the last time Dio showed up on a stream. I remember Dio was really like surprised. He said that he had to fly down to Alabama personally to relay to Moore that this couldn't be happening, and that Moore was screaming. He was like, "Dio, I'm glad you're here. They stole the election from me." Okay, where's the proof? They stole the election from me. Okay, can we see some evidence? They stole the election from me. I had to go underground. Joe Stars. Huh? Well, I don't know what you're referencing there. I just know that when you went to Alabama, you had to put out a fire because Moore was livid. He couldn't believe he had lost. But that was the last time you showed up on one of my streams. After that, you took a years-long hiatus. What's actually kind of interesting is I found out through one of your associates that if Moore had been successful in his 2020 Senate campaign, you would have come back on whatever stream. The next stream I did after his victory to gloat about how you guys had won back AL. But since he lost in the primary, you had to cancel those plans. I really got so. I remember people being so nervous when he announced again. They were like, "Oh no, he's gonna win." I thought he was too until the football coach took him out. And then the other Alabama Senator Britt, that lady, I it's so funny. You get tasked with delivering your party's response to the State of the Union, right? And you would think all you have to do is just sit in front of a camera and talk about why you believe the current president is not correct or whatever. It's a very easy task. You just sit in front of a camera and you articulate why what he said was wrong, incorrect, whatever, your alternative to what he's claiming. And man, I'm telling you, her response was one of the weirdest things I've seen since I became interested in this stuff 11 years ago. Like she's in this uh kitchen with this faded background, and she's like, President Biden has heartbreak it. Oh man, that was awful. And it's crazy too because I've seen her appearances, like when she's at the Senate committees or whatever. She talks like a regular person. So her going on camera, she really decided it's time to act to do my best performance. When people do those concerned voices, it's just so insincere, man. No, I'm telling you, Alabama is such an interesting state. Like I knew when I was able to travel to somewhere last year, that would be the one I would go to. They have some really interesting history and characters that pop up out of there. Things just get so weird, man. Wasn't there a senator in Alabama fighting for cousin? I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, unless you're talking about a member of the state senate or some lower office, I was referring to the U.S. Senate. The two current senators are the football coach and the robot lady. If you're talking about, yeah, I really have no clue who you're referring to because even if you go back a few years, like Shelby, who was the longest serving one, never had any issue with that like that. And then if you're talking about Sessions, I mean, he was known for being, Trump's attorney general that got betrayed and backstabbed. So yeah, you must be referring to some lower office. That's why I said that state has so many different characters that come out of there. Oh, I don't know how you get Alabama and Tennessee mixed up with each other, but I have noticed a lot of people who don't live in the South tend to they just hear South and just mistake every state for the other one. Like I know one guy, he was like, I think well, I'm not going to say the name of this content creator, but I'll give you a hint. They got famous off of making off of creating a character who's a fusion of two other characters. They're like, he's from, I think he's from South Carolina, and I was like, no, he's from West Virginia, or excuse me, Virginia. But even then, it's like a mistake like that makes more sense because Virginia and West Virginia, sounds similar to each other, kind of like North Carolina, South Carolina. Yeah. I'm from Ruckersville, Virginia. You know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't even have to say the name. But I'm saying, like, that's how I remembered where he was from because he would say, and he even showed his license, I'm from Ruckersville, Virginia. I'm telling you, people who don't live in the South think every state is the same. It's so sad. Like, North Carolina is way bluer than South Carolina, which is an easy way to remember which is which. It's very easy for me to remember because I have a lot of relatives in South Carolina. Um, but just people, they don't. I mean, I guess it makes a little bit of sense. You think that for them it's like nothing, like big deal, whatever. But I still find it kind of sad that they just like Americans do that. They just mistake states for other states. Just like Georgia and Alabama are right next to each other, but Georgia's way more left leaning than Alabama is. I'm telling you, the fact that Georgia and Arizona are going like bluer and bluer is just another sign of how the pendulum is shifting over here. Georgia got the peaches and walking. It's not even just that. It's like Georgia has Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the biggest cities in America. You know what I mean? Like Atlanta is talked about in the same breath as, Los Angeles or New York City. Like it's one of those really big or Chicago, like those big popular cities that everybody wants to go to at some point, Miami. Alabama doesn't have a city that's really, known for being some popular tourist what I mean? Like nobody talks about Montgomery or Birmingham or any of the rest of them. They just like, whatever. Or Gadsden. It's just one of those things where they. I'm really amazed at the. For them, it's all homogenized. Sometimes when I look at Dio, I realize that he loves taking these year-long absences. And you think he's busy with real life stuff, but then when you go and you see him on these other people's channels, Huntsville is one of the best places to be in America, apparently. They say that. I mean, I didn't visit there as far as I can remember from last year, so probably. I was really surprised that apparently Utah was found to be the best state to live in terms of, I guess, it has like the lowest amount of homeless people and economic inequality. I was shocked, just because it's a state that no one really talks about. You know what I mean? Yeah, if I wasn't dealing with all this price gouging nonsense over here, I would try to go to another state. I'm hoping to do that before the year is up. A lot of car companies and corporations moving to Huntsville, like Toyota. Oh yeah, I know that. About like 20 years ago, they had a big automobile like boom in Alabama because that was it Siegelman, but whichever governor that was, last Democrat that they had as governor, he had some kind of deal with Mercedes where they just started really plummeting over there, or pouring over there. Excuse me, plummeting. Yeah, Utah's a very clean state. Makes sense to me. It's a lot of money out there, like Salt Lake City. I know. I'm just saying that I tend to not really hear people talk about it in isolation the way that they talk about New York or Illinois or Texas or Pennsylvania, any of the larger states. So it surprised me, not because I have some low opinion of it. I really neutral. It's just they don't normally. You would think for as good as it is, they would talk more about it, or just it would be mentioned more often. No, really, I think people should be, I don't know, I just, you can call me crazy, but I've always liked the idea that you can just go from one state to the next and just view some of the things out there, and, if you like what you see, you can go back there again or move over there. Yeah, people don't talk about Utah. It's a Mormon stronghold with only one major city. I hear you. Most Americans are rural outside of the major cities. I'm telling you, it's Utah, Wyoming, Montana. Some states just like no one ever mentions, or like if I weren't a political junkie, some of these states I might forget they exist because no one ever talks about them. I'm serious. I can't remember the last, like, I have a coworker who said they were moving, and when they said Montana, I had to go, "Oh, yeah. Oh, Nevada is very empty too outside of Vegas and Reno. 75% of the land is federally owned." You know, I mean, hell, every time it's gotten so bad that when people say, um, like they'll say I'm going to Vegas, they don't say I'm going to Nevada. I guess maybe you could say it's like a lexicon thing, right? Where the city, right, might be more like if they could it could be a thing where they just are specific about that city. But when I said last year I'm going to Alabama, I didn't go, I'm going to Birmingham, and then I'm in Georgia. I didn't say I'm in Atlanta because I visited most of the state of Alabama. I'm just saying that it's that same thing where there's like that one city that it's known for, and it just engulfs everything else to where they don't even talk about the rest of it. I left LA for NV. Way better now that I'm able to get away from Justin. Well, you know what? Fine. You want to leave? You want to leave? I'm not even gonna say anything. Hey, you'll probably call me ignorant for asking this, but I don't know if you're talking about when you say LA, Los Angeles, or or Louisiana. Some of these abbreviations, I remember I used to get all those calls from out of state where I had the one call from IA, and that's how I knew the abbreviations for the states because they were just always I'm only 4 hours away from Cali. No, Matt, Los Angeles. Good question, though. Yeah, I figured. I usually hear people leaving the West to go to the South, not the other way around. Do they have Taco Bell in Nevada? That's another thing I always thought was so interesting. Just which states have what stuff in them. Like in California, you have like Ralph's, for example, Kroger. Uh, but then you go to somewhere like Alabama or Georgia, and you have Piggly Wiggly. Like I said, I wish that I was able to go and explore places more often. Well, I was trying to go to Texas this month. It's just that I got caught up in having to pay all this crap, and I just said I'm not going to risk it. I was able to get some tickets, I think, for $300, which I thought was a good price. But again, it's like over here, all the stuff. It's just been a really lousy year financially for me. But then again, I could say that for the last like year and a half, just drain, 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 drain. But trust me, if there's one state I'll go to before I die, it'll be Texas. I've been in every state except Maine, Alaska, in Hawaii if you want to see more and paid for it, become a truck driver. Uh, I mean, I don't have any true desire to leave my job, especially now they're apparently going to give me more hours starting next week. I'm just saying that things have been so lousy that I would be reluctant. Because my thing is, I want if I go to one, I want to be there for at least a majority of a week. 3 days, excuse me, 4 days, 5 days. So I wouldn't want to just like, oh, I'm driving around. Oh, look, I'm in this state, but I can't stop to look at anything or go anywhere. So that's always my biggest reservation. I mean, Texas is so damn large, you probably need a whole week just to be able to feasibly get around most of it. No, it's just so interesting just seeing all the little different areas and what's what and what's where. I used to tell my dispatcher I'm taking home time in Louisiana because of a girl I was talking to. They would route me there and leave me alone for my break time. You schedule it, and you can. Oh, okay. Oh, trust me, Louisiana's another one. I'll have to go and get my facts straight, but I think it has the largest number of poor people out of any state, like homeless people, per population. Like obviously we have more in California, but like there's a lot of just poverty over there, like an excessive amount, especially like around Baton Rouge. No, I know my friend went over there last year with his mother. I said, "Wow, it must be nice to have parents that help you." Yeah, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, the poorest states in the nation, but at least oh, I know about Alabama because when I went over there, I saw the houses. Some of the like I took some pictures because I couldn't believe it in some cases. Some of that stuff just is dreadful. Like imagine having a house and it's got cracked windows, you have trash bags littered all outside, um, people sleeping on the sidewalk right in front of where you live. It was bad, man. Now, of course, when you go to, you know, the let's just say the more color deprived parts of the state, the houses look very nice. But in Birmingham, I saw a guy sitting outside the gas station. I mean, it was really sad, honestly. So that's the one thing that unites America. The poor, just they're everywhere. Dude, I told you that. Well, I never mentioned this anecdote, but I contemplated running for the House of Representatives this year, and I was going to be a write-in candidate, which gave me like less time to be on the able to campaign because I didn't get the papers until the start of January, and the deadline was like the beginning of March because they moved the primary date up by 3 or 4, but by like 3 months. And I remember when I was trying to get people to sign the paper, there was a woman who like I do my little door knocking thing, and she was like, "Oh, just get," because she started asking me like if I have a website and if how, that's first she tries to say she doesn't have the time, just it's a million excuses to not help somebody, but then also like wanting to this like weird curiosity because it's like you don't want to assist me with being able to run, but then you're also gonna like pester me with questions. And one of the things she was asking me was like, what just give me one position. And I was mentioning that I thought it was crazy that you have billions of dollars for this overseas conflict, but then, you know, 63% of Americans live paycheck to pay, just different statistics I know. And I mentioned that, this state has the largest number of homeless people. I think it was like 200,000, probably even more than that, but it's at least several, like multiple hundreds of thousands of people that just have nowhere to live. And I mentioned that like the governor just is like too busy running for president to do it. And her response was, "Well, what can he do?" I said, he can have a jobs program, he can have rent controls, he can lobby to raise wages. This is a man who has he's a Democrat in a state run by Democrats. So anything he wants passed, 9 times out of 10, he should be able to get it like that. But that's why I said like there are some people who will look at a person with total and complete power, the chief executive of the state, right? And she goes, "What can he do?" And like really thought that was a response that was going to leave me like struck, like, "Oh man, I didn't think about this." Like, no, I've thought about it. Maybe she hasn't, but I have. I can tell you, if I was governor, you wouldn't see people sleeping from sidewalk to sidewalk or living in their car because the rent is too damn. That's why I said, man, people they're pathetic. The stuff they defend, the simping for politicians, it makes you want to vomit. Like, how do you have more empathy for some guy that goes on TV and sits in a suit all day than people that can't even afford to eat? Just nuts, man. Oh, these voters, they drive me crazy. When Dio heard that, he put his hand right over his like right face palm, just like whatever. I'm serious. Sometimes people can look at someone who has power, fame, wealth, and they're more empathetic towards that person than the people who are actually struggling or having a difficult time getting by. It's really sad. Like there is a true cult of personality with some of these. I don't even know what you call them. Supporters, backers, sycophants. Just it's sad. Yeah, man. I mean, I've done videos about it. Most Americans can't afford $1,000 emergency. Most of them live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, this is the era of poverty, man. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's why I said income inequality is just I don't know how. I'll put it this way. I'll never take people seriously when they do their little office running schemes that don't talk about how bad and just not well off uh their respective constituents are. It's really sad. People are just so damn embarrassing. Like they ask questions like that, like they really are asking something serious. But so for empathy is just something that people can't muster. It's a mixture of a lack of empathy and just a general laziness. Uh, because sitting there and trying to get people to sign a piece of paper that costs them nothing. We don't care till we are in the situation. Most of us, yeah, absolutely, and that's really, really sad in my view because it's like, what do you get off by just pretending that anyone who's in a bad circumstance did it to themselves? Oh my God, this person uh bought a computer 2 years ago, so they should be homeless. Like that's why, and I'll get into her probably later, but with this coworker of mine, the one that pretended to be my friend, it was so I kept making the point that the reason I couldn't and still like will never get over that in the sense that I don't bother this person, but it's still a thing that I will remember and bring up from time to time is that you had someone who said they were your friend and you had a disagreement, falling out with them, whatever, conversation didn't go well. And their response to this conversation didn't go well is to, within 24 hours of coming to sit by you, have no problem with reporting you with the possibility of you getting in trouble and even the likelihood or, another faint possibility of losing your job altogether. And I think about what you just wrote. We don't care till we are in the situation. Most of it, yeah. Like she didn't care because it wasn't her in that situation. That's why I said thank, you know, whichever figure you believe in religiously that she was as stupid as she was and didn't work. But that's the kind of stuff that really just scares me that someone will have no problem just completely trying to destroy you, including the one that said that you were their friend, which again goes back to my point of how fake all these modern relationships are. But I digress. Oh boy, I tell you, just people. This is an era of no standards, a lack of morals. People are just they're devoid in many cases of decency, of empathy. Um, just really, talk is cheap. Friendship is harder to find than gold. Well, my thing is, I've had people that I've worked with or that I've just called myself talking to where we got into a falling out. But in spite of all those times where I've had someone that upset me on a job, someone that, maybe I liked them at one point, didn't like me anymore, I've never tried to put someone in a position where they could lose their job because they said something I didn't like or teased me or whatever. Like nothing would ever anything short of that person putting their hands on me, they could pretty much get away with. Because I just don't think it's most of this stuff is serious enough to where I'm like, I want this person destroyed. I'm just not that vindictive, and that was my point that she was. That the same person who can give you a hug on Monday can give you a knife on Tuesday. The same woman that can give you a kiss on the cheek on Monday can give you a punch to the gut on Tuesday. Talk is very cheap. That's why I said you can't trust anybody. Still laughing at the guy from the video. Don't mess with girls at work. I'm like, no. The guys don't act like that. I had two different guys that I hung out with. No problem with whatsoever. I've had no man at that place in half a year of being there now have any issue with them to where we've tried to like get each other. And it's only it's only. Well, let me shut up because I don't want to have someone try to get mad at me for telling the truth about uh, this very frustrating group of people. I don't want to have to relitigate the whole mixed signals queen saga. I'm telling you, man, some of these people just you almost wonder if they even breathe the same air that you and I do, because just they can do things and feel nothing when they do it. Um, the person that tries to get you in trouble, when you confront them about it, they go, can we please drop it? They won't even look at you, as they have this almost like smile on their face, staring at their phone. Um, they tell you that you're good or you're cool with them again, but then every time they see you, they say nothing to you. You only speak when spoken to. They avoid you as if you're the one that reported them instead of the other way around. That's why I said all of it is just so backwards. Now, my only regret over the last 2 days was not being able to finish this video, but I think I could finish the rest of the thing this week. It'll be a little bit harder to record it because the regularly scheduled characters are coming back from their hiatus, but I'll figure something out. Yeah, Home Alone has been a pretty decent experience. I wish I could have this all the time. Like, it's really nice to know when you're like doing something, you don't have to worry about, oh, you're too loud, or just it's enjoyable to just you sit somewhere and you don't have to worry about anybody barging in, or you know over ear hustling, whatever, all the weird stuff. It's nice to not have that for at least a week. It really is. They're soulless beings raised to view others as objects. Once you, as their object, goes defective, aka doesn't do what they want, they seek to discard and replace you. Oh, trust me, I got discarded of, and I don't know about replaced, but I definitely got discarded of really, really quickly. I said, look, I'm not stupid. I know that you only like speaking to me when we're up here, so I'll just leave you alone. And then she went in that bathroom and she was like, if I can't have him, the job can't either. And that's what I thought. I always like make that point. I said, because the HR person told me that she made the report the day after that night. So it's like she went home and concocted this master plan to get revenge on me for like teasing her and saying I'm done with her. And that was the best she could do. He made me feel uncomfortable. Wait, if that's true, why did you go and sit by him? I don't care what anybody says. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like I just people can be so, and I know that when you do stuff like that, you do it out of emotion, so you're not thinking logically, but oh boy, that was really dumb on her part. Very, very dumb. Like you wonder what goes through their head, but instead of just the thoughts, it probably is hot air, just traveling from one side to the other. I'm serious, man. These people just well, that's why it was stupid. It's like you're gonna say somebody made you uncomfortable because they were supposed you thought they were recording you. But then if you were uncomfortable in being around this person, why would you go and sit like at that place they record everything on the premises. So she was on video coming and sitting by like I'm outside reading a book and then I look up because she's like, "Oh, you're reading?" And then comes and sits by me. And then we have our exchange for like 7 minutes before she gets up. You know, she rage quits, jumps out of her chair, runs back inside the restaurant, and I leave after that. But yeah, they have her on video coming and sitting by me, and the lady was like, "Okay, if you were uncomfortable, why would you go and sit by him?" Not the sharpest tool in the shed, nor the brightest bulb in the tree. And I'm telling you, that lady, you could tell she just goes through dumb stuff all the time at that place. We spoke for almost 20 minutes, and the confrontational interrogation aspect was over after I think the first two because I said, "Look, this is someone that I thought I was friends with, and I thought I had better people around me than this. I'm very disappointed." But no, she said the video corroborated my claim that I'm sitting out here and somebody comes and sits by me, gets mad, and they're going to talk about you made them a man. You should see that area. They have so many chairs. It's like you pick the one that's right by me, and they're gonna talk about, oh, I felt. Well, I said that place is just nothing but a. One of the I'm not gonna say it, but that place is a breeding ground for drama. They have it's like each day there's some new conflict between this faction and that person. I mentioned there's one girl there that wants to report some guy because he called her a leprechaun due to how short she is, and he was making fun of her laugh. And it's like, you're really gonna waste company resources, like just I. Oh, and then that same person was saying that they wanted to beat up one of the managers because they made her cry. So it's like at the same time that you're gonna try and tell on one person for saying something that you didn't like, you're also gonna like get into a physical altercation with one of your I just say this stuff is a cartoon. You can't take any of it seriously. These people just logic goes out the window. I'm serious. Like I don't know what they're thinking when they make these reports and when they say this person did this to me and oh my lord, what will I ever do? Just it's weird, man. So I said you have some strange characters. No, but someone like that is soulless because because she gets her feelings hurt, she's like, all right, well, I'm gonna try and wreck him at this position that we both have. All I can say is thank the Lord it did not work. But then again, I guess I should be more fixated on the idea that if I had just stuck to my usual habits and not even bothered trying to get to know this person, then none of this would happen. So I have no one to blame but myself. I dipped my toe in the water, knowing it was filled with sharks, and it took them a little while for the dolphin to peel off the paint, but it showed its true nature when it bit me. Man, I'm serious. That place is just packed with scandals and uh they have these two coworkers. One of them I guess they like each other and some girl is trying to play matchmaker and they were talking the female equivalent was with the this lady and they were talking about the guy and said his name in front of me and the girl was like, "Oh, why are you saying his name?" And I was just thinking to myself, man, you guys can't talk about this anywhere else. You have each other's phone numbers. I mean, like, come on. Now, of course, I wouldn't say anything to him because I don't care, but still, it's like, get a room as far as a room to share this gossip around. So I said everything is just so weird. Okay, good. We're good. Got a little worried there for a second. Drama, drama, drama. But no, the thing with what's her name really did destroy any interest I have in trying to be friendly with the different, I guess, women that work there because that two time and backstabbing stuff from someone that you invested all that time into is not a thing I'd like to see replicated. I actually the one that was talking about the guy that she liked, she left about an hour before I did. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. And before she left, she was waving at me through the door. And I just like looked at her because I didn't know what I didn't want to risk the chance of her going and saying, "Oh, he made me uncomfortable." What did he do? He was waving at me. Because I mean, look at them. They can take anything and twist it on you. There was another one I mentioned this before. Who this one's actually kind of a little goofy. Uh, she needed help with lifting something, and I lifted it, and then she put her hand up like this to give me I guess a high five, and I just like stared at her because I was like, what? Like every time one of them does something, I guess I'll put it to you like this: if you can get in trouble or even have one of them try to twist you, like just physically being next to them as a thing that's a problem, then I don't even want to run the risk of touching one of them or oh he looked at me this. Forget it. Serious, nothing but demons. They have no morals, no standards, no ethics. They'll throw you down a river as fast as they can. Some people have no standards and no semblance of humanity. And again, the worst part is that with that one, I had three people warn me about her. I had a relative, I had a guy I talked to on online, and I had Jem, one of my more recurring people that comes on my streams. The three of them warned me that she was going to try to do something to me, and I said, "Oh no, come on. We've been, we had a falling out before, and then nothing like that." But when I got that call that Friday, it made me look like the fool for even trusting her at all. 2 months ago and never apologized at all. No remorse. I said it's funny. I apologized when she was ignoring me, but then she doesn't apologize and she tries to get it. That's why I say everything is so backwards. That's why I said these people they don't have human emotions. They don't look at things the way a person that can truly feel something would. They have no remorse. They have no empathy. I mean, a lot of times they don't even have a conscience. It's just what can this person do for me in the immediate? And if they can't do it, then I have no time for you. You might as well not even exist. I talked about how she took my order about a week ago. And when I saw her as the only cashier, I was like, but I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to play this cool. I'm going to just come in here, tell her what my order is, very matter of factly. There shouldn't be any problem, right? And she looked, after she took the order, she's like, name. And I said, really? Because this is someone who has seen me come in here before and, without my uniform on, certainly recognizes me without wearing like a hat or anything because the night when that thing happened, she was able to tell who I was without it. So it's like you've unpersoned me so much. The person that you reported, by the way, so you knew my name when you made that report, but you don't know my name when you take my order. And then even after she recognizes you when you say really, she's like, "Oh, let me charge you full price," or tries to charge me full price. I have an employee discount. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll look for what. Man, just snakes. That's why I said they don't act like human beings. Yeah, one of the guys yesterday or I believe it was day before yesterday, was telling me about he had some crush on one of the managers, and I was able to figure out which one it was, or I guessed it correctly. Um, and he mentioned that she had a boyfriend and whatever, whatever. And it's funny, that's actually the second guy I've seen who said that he was attracted to her. And my thing is, I already think it's dumb to try and date a coworker. Like I just think it's stupid to like play Russian roulette in that way. But why on God's green earth would you think it was a good idea to develop feelings for a coworker who not only works someone that works with you, but someone who has power over you as one of the managers? It's not very bright. So I said this romance stuff. People will like some of these guys will just drive themselves off a cliff with this woman stuff. It's really sad. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a crush on someone that has control over me at my job. Totally a good idea. Like I said, I would never in a million years develop any type of feeling like that with anyone at this any place I worked for or with or whatever. Because you've seen how quickly it can all turn to something incredibly awful. No, that place always has drama. Like every day, there's a new person who either I'll directly hear it from them or I'll overhear them talking about somebody else. And I'm just like, does this just never like is this just a thing where every day you go to work, you do your task, and then you hear about, oh, this person is cheating on this one, oh, this person likes that one, oh, this person reported this one. Like every day now. I was even one day with one of talking to one of the managers, and he told me that he had never seen so much drama until working there. So I believe it. That place is just a cesspool for complaining and ranting and being upset over whatever small petty grievance that doesn't matter, but they'll find a way to make it a big deal. Like it's sad. I see why Dio doesn't eat there. I don't blame him. They had Dio come in there. He was trying to order some food. It took about 20-30 minutes for it to be made. He said they make more drama. They make drama faster than they make the meals. Some of the people that really do act like they're rappers and they have feuds with coworkers and like they're gonna put out a diss track. Except their diss track is just like spreading their distaste for you to other people. You know, saying this, looking at you a certain way, acting like you don't exist, all the usual stuff. Mm. That's how me and Mixed Signals Queen are. I don't look at her at all. She'll walk right past me. I'll just turn my head. Only speak when spoken to. Can you wash this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you get this? Outside of that, it's like you don't even matter. You think life? Oh yeah. You think life is only hard on you? So Megumi, I just want to make sure that the stream is not out of sync because this next hour is going to be pretty crazy. So I just want to ask you before you write whatever you want to write. The stream is not out of sync. There's no like audio issue. Are we good or let me know because it's been a very 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 eventful week and a half. Mm. Let me see here. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, great. So listen, I hope you enjoyed the video on that stupid guy. I told you I would get him back. I knew I would get my revenge somehow. I was just thinking of what video to put that in. Now I'm going to tell you something, and look, sometimes I know this stuff sounds crazy, like it sounds like I'm making it up, and I don't have proof of it because I don't deal with her anymore. Um, but I pledge to you, I put my heart on my chest. I pledge to you that everything I'm about to say here is true. It's all been revealed to me since the last time you were on one of my streams. Um, and I'm not creating any of this to like make myself look good or whatever. Um, about yeah, last Sunday I came to the job. Now, I told you about the coworker who said she wanted to report this guy for calling her a leprechaun. She and I get along fairly well because we have a similar like cynical thing going on with the way this place works. But I go in there on Sunday and she looks at me and she says, Your friend is starting rumors." And I'm like, "Who?" And then she says, "Mixed signals queen." And my like I get kind of like a nervous. I'm like, "Oh man, she's saying something about me." I don't ask her that, but like, I hear that piece at first. And then she later on, while we're working through the day, about within the first hour of me being there, because I'm trying to get her to relay this to me before Mixed Signal Queen shows up, because it'll be harder to talk about whatever she's claiming or alleged, if she's around. So I go up to her and I ask, what happened? Like, what rumor? Now, you might not remember, but I did a stream called Trial. You were there, and it was 2 days after the March 23rd massacre, where this lady, I asked like a sit by her. She said, "I'm watching the video," and then the guy was like, "I'll pick you up at 8." She said, "Okay." So that same guy, um, that same one that said, "I'll pick you up at 8," apparently he actually does have a girlfriend, and his girlfriend doesn't like Mixed Signal Queen, Mixed Signals Queen, excuse me, MSQ, hanging out with him and just like doing the whole like little "we're friends," charade. So somehow or another, she got a hold of Mixed Signals Queen's number, and the non-call person has been receiving calls at 8, like spam calls, like someone calling over and over at 8 in the morning. So like imagine you're laying down, you know. That has to be really annoying. And the sad part is, as I heard some of the stuff about this story, because the one that related to me sounded like she was just irritated with even hearing about it. I started to think about, like the whole thing with Miss Revolving Door last year, right? Where it's like, here's this person you just want to be friends with, and they have this partner that thinks you want to date them, and whatever. That's what that reminded me of. But I was like, well, at least in my case, it was some woman that lived on the other side of the country, hundreds of miles away, with the girlfriend of the guy that's "I'll pick you up at 8." I'm more understanding of her jealousy, because they're physically, they're together for hours without her being there. So it's not hard to imagine that, like, basically I there's more validity to her being jealous than that stupid guy that was with Miss Revolving Door, in my opinion. Let me see here. Okay, we're good. This situation sounds really ugly for sure, and the circus stuff. It's not over. I'm gonna give you the same look she gave me when I asked, if I send you a text message, will you respond? So I have been for the last couple of weeks, because I'm never gonna get over how I was treated by her. That's not gonna happen. As long as I work there and I have to see her 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week, I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen. I don't bother her. I don't mess with her. But every now and again, I'll say to somebody, "Yeah, I used to believe I could be friends with people up here, but I see clear as day that that's not possible now." And there's this one woman who I've been kind of like referencing Mixed Signals Queen to without ever saying her name. And so she was like, "Hey, I want to know who this is." And I said, "Okay, fine, I'll tell you." Because I told you I'm done protecting Mixed Signals Queen. This broad had no problem trying to throw me off of a bridge, right? Metaphorically, with the whole nonsense report. So I feel like one good turn deserves another. I shouldn't try to keep you in some esteemed viewpoint of these people. So here's what happens. On Tuesday night, I'm working this closing shift. This is after Mixed Signals Queen has packed it in and gone home. And I revealed to this coworker that she is the one that I've been talking about, like saying referencing without saying the name of, right? And she looks at me when I say the name and she's like, "Her? No." Like you could tell it was the last person she would have guessed. But then I hear something very interesting. Mixed Signals Queen is dating another coworker. Um, so this here's what's I find appealing. There was a either I mentioned this to you before. There was like a day where she came like 30 something minutes late, and there was like a guy walking with her, and one of my coworkers, and I was like so disgusted by her that I didn't even want to look at her, so I just like drove off. Now, when the other one, the one with the girlfriend, said, "I'll pick you up at 8," you remember me relaying this to you, right? That she said okay. That thing that was at 8 in the morning was for Easter. It was like this event they were having. I didn't go because I've explained before I live far away and I'd have to come back later to work. It was dumb to me. I couldn't logistically make it. So she apparently the one that said I'll pick you up at 8, she apparently stood him up to go to that same event with the guy that she's now dating. And they went to this company event, this job event, this professional event, this event where you're going to see your fellow coworkers. They went to a work related event in their pajamas. Now you know what that's supposed to mean, right? When a man and a woman show up in their pajamas together to something, they're like subtly saying, "We're together. I slept at his house. He slept at my house, maybe even in the same bed." Oh, it's not over yet, Megumi. So as I am relaying this stuff, and this is all revealed to me in like a 2 or 3 minute exchange. This same one that I finally tell her the name of, right? That I finally told the name, right? Because Mixed Signals Queen is also an adult, so sometimes she also works that period where they like close the place up together. Okay. When I go to the job, me and a lot of these other people tend to park in front of the place, because that's like a good spot to park and just like walk across the street and then be able to go to go inside and start your shift. According to the one I revealed the name of to her too. It was her and 2 other women that saw Mixed Signals Queen get into this guy's car. Mixed Signals Queen, by the way, has her own car. Just keep reminding you of that. She gets into the car of this guy that she's now dating. Windows are kind of dark. She's in there for about 2, 3 minutes after the shift is over. She gets out the car with their hair all messed up, right? And then goes and gets into her car. Now you know that when she gets out, when she goes in the car and then gets out with the hair all, you know, looking whatever, whatever. That's yeah. So what I'm conveying to you is I thought by me revealing who she was, I was like damaging her reputation, but apparently my job was already done because they had like they thought the lady I told it to, she thought it was a love triangle between her, the guy that I'll pick you up at 8, and the guy that she's currently with. And then when I revealed my thing, she looked at me like I had dropped some bombshell. She was like, "Her? No." And I had to explain to her this was not romantic. Maybe she thought, like, no, no, no. Like she asked me, remember the famous line, "We're going as friends," right? And I said, yeah. So apparently this stuff with these other two guys started after she made her report of me, and then like in those weeks was kind of like only speaking to me if spoken to. Magumi, you wrote, "Damn, you know what must have went down, huh?" And let me just also explain to you. Mixed Signals Queen is not a very smart person. I don't believe that at all. And the reason I say that is because, as I told you before, you're not supposed to date your coworkers. Now, people who are smart that want to date each other, they don't they're subtle about it. Hey, maybe we laugh when we see each other there, you know, hi, hello, whatever. Um, but she parks in front of the place and engages in some type of activity. I don't know what it was in front, like in a car that's parked in front of the restaurant as the rest of the coworkers are coming outside as they get off of their shift with her. Now you know people don't do stuff like that unless they want you to know, yeah, me and him were grabbing on each other, me and her were grabbing on each other. So what? What are you going to do about it? God, you know what? Like honestly, I'm not even trying to say this to be spiteful, but sometimes you look at people and you almost think, do they really believe that they're gods? Like I wouldn't even if I were dating a coworker, which would never happen because you already know my thing about these modern chicks, let alone one that you would be working with. I would never be dumb enough to grab on them or do something physical or overt right in front of the entrance to the place where I work. Like I said before about this moron, no morals whatsoever. But you get what I'm saying, right? That like she has a car, he has a car. They can get in their cars, drive somewhere else, and then do, uh wherever they want. Like you don't have to do that in front of your job other than trying to, like brag about, haha, we're together. Ha. So Megumi, that's why the stream has that title. Because when this started, I thought it was she just didn't care, I bet. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, remember, this is the same lady that almost got fired because she couldn't bother to show up on time, even though she lives much closer to that place than I do. I have to leave 2 hours before my shift starts to make sure I'm there on time because traffic can be so damn bad, sometimes 2.5 hours. This broad lives within half an hour of that place. And she showed up late so many times, they had to sit her down and say, look, you got one more time to not come on time, and then you're out of here. So just no morals, no standards, no ethics, no integrity. Just a vapid husk of an individual. And you know what I think is funny? They'll call me an I word for talking trash about this woman, but it's the chicks up there that were talking about how screwed up she is. Like there was another lady. I think I told you there's one that was like that has like a nose ring and was like kind of mean to me, like, and then started acting nicer. And like I think I brought up that one before, but that one was like, oh, she's dating this guy's like, yeah, but before that she was doing this and like they all look at her basically as well, a word that is not very flattering. I'll put it that way. And it had nothing to, like, they thought that she just had stuff with two different guys, and all of a sudden here comes this third one from stretching all the way back into January. You know where that's funny, where like the whole time That's how you know I was really like still hoping that things would get better. The whole time the mixed signal, yeah, and that's something you don't usually hear. So she basically exposed her